As always, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. You did an excellent job, very efficient. And on your seat, there's a front and back piece of paper. We call it a performance report. It's really an economic impact study, and it's a performance report on VEDC. You may remember back in, I think, 2012, we did this, and we took a look at all of the projects that we had influenced to come to the community or expand in the region, and to see what their worth was. And this isn't everything that's happened in the region. This is the projects that we've touched. And over that time, we decided it's time to do it again, and we're going to go back and look at the last 14 years and do that project again. I'm just going to hit a couple of highlights. On the front page there, you can see that business output from all those projects was $1.5 billion over the past 14 years. If you add that with the indirect and direct, it's almost over $4 billion of revenues to local businesses. That translates into over 2,000 jobs, direct and induced jobs, another 2,000 for over 4,000, almost 5,000 jobs created by those projects alone. That translates to total employee earnings of about $2.9 billion over 14 years. Those paychecks translate into some tax dollars for local taxing entities. If you look across the sheet over there, you'll see that that's almost $10 million in sales tax and property taxes for the city of Victoria, about $8 million for the county of Victoria, over $55 million in that 14 years for all the taxing entities just from the projects that we've touched and influenced is a better way to put that. The economists that did this, Impact Data Source out of Austin, suggests that those projects going forward will add another $17.6 million a year to the local taxing entities' revenues, and that's a return on your investment of about 270%. So this is important to us because we want you to know you're not just giving us money, but you're investing in VEDC and investing in Victoria. So thank you, and you take that with you. With that, I'd like for you to have a preview of what we've been doing over the past year, and especially what our focus is and will be for the upcoming future. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Adrian Kennedy, Vice President of Marketing, to give you that report.
Thanks, Dale. Thank you all for being here this evening to hear from us and hear from our guests. I know I'm not the main attraction and the main event. I'm humble enough to understand that, but I'm going to attempt to be brief, but also provide value in my comments because, again, you are our membership. We want you to understand how we're investing your money with respect to our marketing and attraction efforts and make sure that you understand that your money is being put to good use going forward. So why foreign direct investment? I think most of you were here at our semi-annual meeting this March, or this past May rather, and had an opportunity to hear a little bit about our marketing efforts going forward in 2017 and beyond. And at that time, you may remember that I had talked about the stats from the Bureau of Economic Analysis had suggested that FDI investment in U.S.-based stock has increased over the past year $2.9 trillion to $3.1 trillion. As a matter of fact, foreign-owned U.S. subsidiaries contributed to 6.4 million U.S. jobs. So why FDI? We want a piece of that action in this region. Additionally, think about the FDI that's in our region. Just to name a few, as we consider LyondellBasell. We also consider Formosa Plastics, who is growing by leaps and bounds, investing continually in our region. And then, of course, INEOS, who's done so much in our region. Imagine this community in this region, if those investments were not there. That's why we need more FDI, more business attraction from foreign sources going forward. So I'm going to skip through or move through a few slides right quickly. This particular slide looks at the world's top 20 largest foreign investors. So these are foreign companies that are putting the most money outside of their home, the most money outside of their home or base country where they're based in. Point of note is 3 of the top 5 on this list by CapEx are Asian represented. that will mean a little bit more as we go forward in our presentation, as we talk about our marketing travel. But you look at the total of creation just in the 3 Asian companies in the top 5, they represent well over 100,000 jobs outside of their home country. To further drive home the point about foreign direct investment and where it's going. Now you see this particular bar graph, we look at 2014 through 2016. Europe, you see from 2014 to 15, had a huge inflow of foreign direct investment dollars into their economy. But look at North America. What you notice about North America from 14 to 16 is we see a continual trend upwards. That means the money from outside of this country is moving to this country. And so we have to position ourselves to get in front of that. It's the only economy in this bar graph that actually is continuing to trend up. That was 14 through 16 as we look at 17. What about this year? What about 2017? As of August 2017, when you consider greenfield foreign direct investment, capital investment, when you consider the jobs created, when you consider just the sheer number of projects, United States is at the very top of the list of all the major economies in the world. And then finally, as we look at some of these numbers to make the case, these are numbers we oftentimes, Dale and I say when we're on the road, we can't get them to Victoria unless we get them to Texas. They have to be interested in Texas. So what about foreign direct investment dollars with respect to Texas? And not only with respect to Texas, but what industries are you seeing, or we seeing rather, the most investment, the most activity from foreign direct investment dollars? In the top 3, manufacturing. It's hard to see that there, but it's highlighted. Manufacturing with a total of 76 projects over the last 5 years. You also consider average jobs created for those manufacturing projects at 158 and average capital investment 306 million. Also to note, logistics, distribution, and transportation, and electricity in the energy sector also contributing as far as the top business sectors that are receiving this foreign direct investment. Those top 3, or those 3 industries, are the primary jobs that we're working every day to recruit to this community and to this region. And so we're going to continue to move forward in that direction. So what have we done with trying to get our industrial assets, to try to get this region positioned for decision makers from foreign-owned businesses? Select USA Summit, some of you have heard me talk about that quite a bit over the last some years. This year was the 4th year that the U.S. Department of Commerce put on a foreign direct investment Select USA Summit to encourage attendees, foreign-owned businesses, to come to Washington, D.C. and learn about what a great place the United States is to do business. We had an opportunity to meet with several companies while there, and also our partnership with Team Texas, which is a statewide marketing organization, a coalition of about 100 communities coming together to talk about why Texas, and in our case, Victoria, in this region, is the best place for their investment. So not only are we doing domestic marketing towards foreign direct investment, but we're also going abroad. See Representative Morrison in the back. She was involved in our abroad activities, marketing activities abroad last year. And we had an opportunity to bring our judge, Ben Zeller, with us this time to lead our delegation. And here you see a picture of the American Institute in Taiwan, organization that helped us set up meetings with Taiwanese businesses while we were there. And here are some pictures again of some of the meetings that took place. Again, what we found, the Taiwanese delegation was the largest delegation at Select USA. Because of the meetings we had there, because of the interest in the Texas Gulf Coast, because of the interest in Texas as a whole, we found opportunities that warranted us going to see these folks directly, and that's what we did. At the home of headquarters facilities here and on to the right, and then also the opportunity to set up business luncheons in which we gave presentations to a group of 8 or 9 companies there in that picture. While we were on that side of the globe, it was just too easy to hop over to Japan. Japan has continued to invest in the U.S., and we've seen their continued interest in the state of Texas. Many of you are aware of the Toyota Motor Manufacturing North America headquarters facility moving out of Kentucky, some out of California, and consolidating their facilities in the DFW area, in the Plano area. Also, Kubota has done the same thing in moving their headquarters, North American headquarters facility into Texas. They are putting roots down in Texas. We want to make sure we're getting in front of Japanese companies. And here you see us doing just that. Had an opportunity to get to partner with Japan External Trade Organization, get in front of about 150 businesses that were represented there, but also meet individually at the headquarters locations of some of these companies as well. Dale and I did not pick up our PhD while we were in Japan, but this was a unique opportunity because we had the president of the company, who's growing very quickly, offer his time to take us around his plant and show us what they're doing in manufacturing. So it was a special trip. So oftentimes in our marketing efforts abroad, around the United States, the message takes hold. And we have the opportunity to bring foreign visitors into our community. And yes, that is Bobby McCann, Mr. Bobby McCann, alongside Dale there. Recently, we had an opportunity to receive a delegation of Chinese businessmen and Chinese businesses to understand the food processing, the cattle and ranching industry in the state of Texas. As we learned while we were in Asia, for some reason, they think Texas beef is pretty good. We do too. And they recognize that. So we had an opportunity to host this delegation. We also got to talk about their interest in continued food manufacturing in our region as well. And then more delegation visits throughout the year. We try to pull in our partners. You see Dr. J with the Victoria Independent School District involved in one of our delegate visits, and then Dale out at sites at the Port of Victoria and other places to talk about bringing more primary jobs and investment to this area. Not only are we marketing abroad, not only are we engaging in a very aggressive external marketing program, but we understand taking care of our local businesses is very important. You saw some numbers in the slide, average manufacturing projects, 158 jobs associated with that, 306 million from a foreign direct investment in manufacturing. But if you have 5 jobs, if you have 10 jobs, we want to see that grow too here in this community. This was a unique opportunity we had through our relationship with the Japan External Trade Organization, an opportunity to bring in a Japanese business, a large Japanese business, who was interested in serving customers in the state of Texas and along the Texas-Louisiana Gulf Coast. Well, they needed fabrication and machining operations. They didn't want to set those up themselves at this point, but they wanted to use a local manufacturing or fabrication and machining company. We had the opportunity to facilitate a meeting with 5 such companies in our region, and I think the business prospects for that going forward are going to be very positive. And so we're providing those opportunities for our existing businesses as well. And finally, just so you all realize, our marketing efforts in 2017 were not limited to just foreign direct investment. We want to make sure that we're getting our community and our region in front of the industries that are growing, no matter where they come from. And so the World Petrochemical Conference was an opportunity for us right up the road in Houston, Texas, to entertain several large chemical companies with our mayor, with our county judge, with our partnership with the Port of Victoria to talk about the wonderful assets that we have in our region, to include shallow draft ports, deep water ports, and large tracts of land. In all, in 2017, over 540 direct contacts made, 63 formal proposals sent out that resulted in 22 actual site visits to this community to evaluate this area as an opportunity. 12 active projects right now with a potential for $14.2 billion in investment and 5,000 plus jobs in this region. It's an exciting time for this region. It's an exciting time for this area. Texas is still a strong place in which to do business. We're getting the message out there, and we're telling them that Victoria is a big, big reason why they should be considering the state of Texas. Thank you.
Great job, Adrian, and thank you, and thanks for your applause for him. He's done a lot of work to put all of that together and all of those trips and contacts, and you know what? Every now and then, one pays off, and that's why we do it. Well, I get to talk a little bit about where our program came from and how we got to meet them. Adrian's preparing for our trip overseas, and through our friends at INEOS, we were able to be put in touch with the Mitsui group. You saw their list on all of those companies that Adrian put up there. And so while we were in Japan, in Tokyo, we had the opportunity to meet with Mitsui, who was able to introduce us to the Novis company, who you're about to hear from. Specifically, you're going to hear from Mr. Jeffrey Klopfenstein. Jeff is the president of the Methionine business unit for Novis International Incorporated. Jeff manages the global operations and strategies for the production, marketing, and technology development of Novis's original product group, which is the largest in terms of sales. Under Jeff's leadership, 6 manufacturing plants have been established on 3 continents. Jeff also played key roles in the acquisition of Rothel in 2004, IQF Group in 2010, and the Animal Nutrition Division of Albion in 2010. In 2011, Jeff was promoted to president of the Global Methionine Business Unit, and Jeff was recruited into Novis as manufacturing director shortly after the company was formed in 1991. His responsibilities over the years have included process research, regulatory affairs, distribution, customer service, and cost accounting, in addition to the traditional responsibilities of a manufacturing director. He did all those other things. In 1999, Jeff was promoted to Vice President of Operations, and the scope of his responsibilities extended to include process research in 2001 through 2010. He took on the additional role as leadership over the information technologies function and was then named Senior Vice President in 2007. Jeff began his career with Monsanto in 1979 at the Chocolate Bayou plant in Alvin, Texas. He had a number of responsibilities in technology and manufacturing at Chocolate Bayou and Texas City, as well as his role in business process re-engineering at Monsanto's headquarters prior to joining Novis in 1991. Jeff graduated magna cum laude from Princeton University in '79 with a Bachelor's of Science degree in chemical engineering. Jeff has been affiliated with the American Feed Industry Association, the American Institute of Chemical Engineers, the American Chemistry Council, Texas Chemical Council, the Groundwater Protection Council, and for many years. He is a board member of the Meds and Food for Kids in Haiti, and a member of the advisory board for the Boeing Institute of International Business at St. Louis University's Business School, and many other accomplishments. At this point, I'd like for you to recognize and welcome my new friend, Jeffrey Klopfenstein.
Thank you, Dale. I'm really want to thank you for making this opportunity available to make a global announcement for a new production site right here in this area. And so thanks for allowing time in your annual meeting. And thank you all for showing up to Dale's annual meeting. This is a really exciting day for us that we're bringing to this community a decision to site a new manufacturing plant here in this community for animal nutrition. So we'll get to talk a lot about chickens and pigs here in the next few minutes. This is part of a multi-year study that we studied all across the U.S. Gulf Coast in terms of which would be the best place. So let me do that. Best place to site Project Newton. And here we are in Calhoun County. So this is a result of a 4-year study to site our manufacturing in Calhoun County, just barely across the border. Well, I'd like to talk a little bit about our company, Who is Novis International? About the product that we'll propose to produce, and about the project. I have here over here in this portion of the room a team of people that's been working on the project. We have actually 100 people working on the project. And so only a portion of the team here, the rest are busy trying to make the project go forward. Who is Novis International? Novis was formed in 1991 out of a business unit of Monsanto. So Monsanto chose to sell their animal feed ingredients business in 1991. And it was purchased by a joint venture formed by Mitsui. So Mitsui was one of the top companies in your foreign direct investment list, one of the top 5. And Nippon Soda, which is a Japanese agricultural chemical company. We provide nutritional animal feed ingredients. So our customers, I don't know if you can see in the back, but our customers are all across the bottom of this slide here. The chicken, the pig, beef cattle, dairy, anyone who owns a feed mill, they're a potential customer. And anyone who does fish farming globally. So we serve the world's food producers in over 100 countries. We've had for over 26 years the same vision, mission, and core values. This makes us sort of unique in companies that often change these things. And our vision is really big: to help feed the world wholesome, affordable food and improve the quality of life. So we'll talk about how a company like ours can accomplish such a big mission. The importance of Novis, the importance of Texas to Novis, I'm trying to illustrate on this slide, that over half of our production already comes from the state of Texas. And 2/3 of our revenue start with this production in the state of Texas. And we have customers all across the state of Texas. These are people that own feed mills. So delivering 400 truckloads of product each year. So Texas is already really important to us. Now, big picture, we talked about the vision. The world today has 7 billion people and will grow to over 9 billion people by 2050. So more people means more food needs to be produced. And you think, well, maybe 30% more food, right? If we're going to go from 7 billion to 9 billion, something like that. The studies have shown 70% more food needs to be produced. So why is that? Why is that? It's because the world is becoming a better place. Simply put, malnutrition will decrease over these next 30 years. We have a tremendous malnutrition issue in the world, 800 million people malnourished. That will decrease. People will eat better. People will live better lives all across the world. And so world food production needs to increase 70%. This project is part of that. This is an essential part of that. And where is that going to come from? That's going to come from, it's not going to come from more farmland. There'll be no new farmland globally. There'll be some new farmland here, but it'll be offset by farmland that disappears in terms of houses and things like that. You've seen that happen. So if it's not new farmland, where does it come from? It comes from more bushels per acre for the corn and soy, and that's on the crop side. On the animal side, it comes from more efficient animal production, which means better health and nutrition for animals. That's where we live. Remember, our customers are those chickens and pigs, right? And also, where does the 70% come from? Part of it comes from less waste. This means delivering food from the farm to the plate with less waste and spoilage. So let's talk about, instead of talking about animals, let's talk about people, because we understand people better than animals, right? And so if we look at our our food that we consume, when I'm eating breakfast in the morning, look at the side of the cereal box and it has all these minimum daily requirements, right? We've all seen that. And oftentimes our cereals have a supplementation. You'll find niacin added to cereal. Niacin is simply a vitamin. It's good for you. You'll find, just depending upon what kind of cereal you have, what supplements are added to your cereal. And then some people maybe take vitamin E, maybe take a probiotic, maybe take a mineral for joint health. So as humans, we're used to supplementation, right? And if you look at, we're eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and the supplement may simply be one small pill, or maybe two, right? So a very, very small portion of what we eat. The same way for animals. You want to have a nutritious feed for your animals. So part of good nutrition for animal feed is supplementation. And that's the product, the product that we're going to be producing here in Calhoun County. So let's switch now from humans to animals. So this is the product, it's Alamet. Alamet stands for A-liquid methionine. It's a liquid product. Methionine is an amino acid. An amino acid is a protein building block. So there's your biochemistry lesson for today. So a little bit of physiology, right? We're made of protein. Our muscles are made of protein. How does our body make protein? We ingest amino acids. We eat amino acids. So meat, eggs have amino acids. Even grains have some amino acids. And our body knows how to take those amino acids and form them together to make protein. It's the same way for animals. Same exact thing happening. And so for an animal, though, if you're a chicken, you're eating grain mostly, corn and soy. And corn and soy is enough to keep a chicken alive. We know that. It's enough for a chicken to grow. But a chicken that's fed only corn and soy with no supplementation will grow to full age, full weight in maybe 70 days. So my great-grandmother that raised chickens, 70 days later, there'd be a full-size chicken. If we take that same chicken and add, instead of just the grain, we'll add not 1%, but just 1/4% of Alamet. That's the missing ingredient that they were missing. That's the supplementation that they needed to grow to their full potential. And that same chicken will grow to full weight in 40 days, 42 days. Only because it's not a hormone, it's not GMO, only because the chicken had proper nutrition. It had each and every day of its life a nutritionist who specified a diet that was perfect for the chicken at that week of their life. And what does that mean? That chicken, instead of eating 70 days of grain to reach full weight, it only ate 40 or maybe 42 days of grain, which is good for the planet. That means those acres go further. That means we can feed the 9 billion people. Yeah. So anyway, that's big picture. We're going to get back to Calhoun County, back to Victoria area here. So this is the product. This product is FDA approved. It's been in the marketplace. This molecule has been in the marketplace since 1957. It's used all over the world, 100 countries in the world, 500 locations in North America. So feeding the world. Here's just some people of the world, right? I've got the little different pictures from different parts of the world, and are helping to feed the world. That's remember, that's our vision. Our plant will touch not 1 million people, not 100 million people. Our plant will touch 1 billion people. Okay, how do you get to that? Today, there's about 7 billion people in the world. Roughly 5 billion are eating most of the meat. we're covering, our market share is 20%. So 20% of 5 billion people is 1 billion people. So our plant touches 1 billion people. The number of plants in any industry that touch 1 billion people are like 0. If you think about any industry, food plants typically are sort of regional. There's a mustard plant. There's a French's mustard plant that touches maybe 200 million people. There's only one of those in the United States. There's a peanut butter plant in Little Rock that touches maybe 200 million, mostly kids. But to find a plant that touches, in any industry, no automobile plant sells 1 billion cars. No pharmaceutical plant touches 1 billion people. No clothing manufacturer, no plant, except for the one that's going to be built here. So this is our plant that's producing all that production today. Texas, this is near Alvin, Chocolate Bayou in Brazoria County, so about 2 hours north of here. This is the world's largest methionine plant, and we own this plant. And it doesn't look like a feed mill. It's making Alamet, and it's making almost 1,000 tons every day, 365 days a year. So this is 320,000 tons a year of capacity. The plant to be built here would be 120,000 tons, so about 1/3 of this size. We'll talk more about that. So let's talk about we talked about the product a lot and about chickens and pigs. Let's talk about the project. Where we are in the project is we conducted site studies. So we narrowed down to 25 sites. We then narrowed down to 10 sites, and then down to 3 sites, and then down to, finally, the site here. And so selecting where we are is to select the project location. That's what we're here to announce today. We're filing permit applications, so environmental permits. We filed 2 already. We have 2 more to file. Then we need to work with the regulatory agencies to obtain permission to operate and make a final investment decision. So today is the siting decision. We're at the sort of the middle of this process. About a year from now would be the final investment decision. And then begin construction early 2019 with about 18 months of construction with a startup then after that. So construction 2019, 2020. Why Calhoun County? These 4 reasons really sum it up. Talented workforce, the talented people that you have here, the educational system that you have here, the desire to work, frankly. Natural resources, this is really broader than this county. It's globally, Texas is super competitive for natural gas and electricity prices. The transportation infrastructure, which means roads, railroad, and as well as the barge, the canal. And then altogether, our partnership with INEOS, so the plant will be located just in Calhoun County, just across the border there on 185, and operated by INEOS. And so these 4 things are the reasons why this plant is here. INEOS is a world-class operator. And so this is the INEOS site from the air, and then there's Highway 185, you're all familiar with that, and then the red area is the land where our plant will be. And this land is big enough for not only this project, but more projects behind that. So why more projects? In the 2020 decade, the next decade, someplace in the world will need to be built one of these plants every 18 months. Now, we won't build every one of those, but we surely should build more than one. Right? Our competitors, I'm sure, have their eyes on building some of those as well. So this is with an eye to the future. Let's talk about the project itself. The project itself, estimated investment of $360 million. So it's not the largest project in Texas, but it's a big, big project. 65 permanent jobs to operate the plant. This is just inside the plant boundaries. Peak of construction 600 at the peak. This is 2019, 2020. And then affecting not just the local area, but talk about 60-mile radius. So here, 2 or 3 counties. So this is big picture project benefits. And by the way, we chose to make this announcement here. This is a global announcement here because this plant affects you, hopefully in a very, very positive way, more than anybody else. So let's just look at, during the construction period, estimate the economic impact, the positive economic impact, $530 million overall. 1,000 jobs, because it's not just the people that are building the plant. It's the restaurants, it's the hotels, it's all the other service providers around. During this time period, we estimate $300,000 in local and county sales taxes, $140 million in payroll. So payroll money sort of goes twice, right? Once to the people that earn it, and then they go out in the community and spend a lot of it. So this is just during the 18 months of the project construction. Beyond that, if we look at the whole, let's look at just the first 20 years of the life of the plant. $19.5 billion of economic value creation, $71 million of local taxes paid. This is just direct taxes. This is the first order of magnitude that Novis is paying these taxes. And 200 employed overall, not just the 65 that are inside the plant, but all the people that support those folks in a lot of your businesses. And we estimate $9 million in new residential property, that they'll simply be people that are earning a better living, and maybe they want to build a house instead of living in an apartment, or maybe they move into the area. But overall, we say over this 20-year period, $9 million in new residential property. And so we talk about this is the right project at the right place with the right people. It's all about, anything this big takes a lot of people to do, and a lot of people that are driven to make it happen. It's hard. Doing a project this big is not easy. And so we've got 30 years of experience in helping to feed the world. We know how to operate a plant like this. We know the technology. We're partnering with world-class operator Ineos to operate this plant. And so we've got some nice pictures here of people operating plants. So in summary, right project, right place with the right people, right here in your backyard. So that's my presentation.
We didn't talk about it before, but Jeff's willing to take questions.
Yes.
Is this applicable for, give the example of poultry, other ruminants, swine, cattle, and does it have a dramatic effect on the weight gain yield as it does poultry?
So the question is, does this apply to other species than just poultry? Let me start with eggs. So for layers, super great benefit for layers. In fact, just used in really a heavy concentration of the U.S. egg producers use our product. For swine, absolutely. Those that are scientifically formulating feed for best animal performance, best animal health are using our product. Dairy, the highest performing cows all across the United States are using our product, whether it's Wisconsin, whether it's California, whether it's New York, where so much of the milk is produced. We're sort of a secret in the beef industry, but there are some customers who understand the benefit and they see that benefit, and then of course in farm fish as well. So we're already in the market. This plant at Chocolate Bayou, world's largest methionine plant. We have 20% global market share, and this new plant is simply to grow with our customers, feed the 9 billion people. There needs to be more food produced in the world every day, because there are more people being born, and the people that are already living are eating better.
How do you get the word out? You're like a secret to us. So how do you get the word? How do you get your market?
Okay, how do we get our market penetration? We have Novis people in 40 countries, so we are directly in contact with customers. Novis people we have 300 Novis customer-facing people. These are not only salespeople, but we have doctors of veterinary medicine. We have animal nutrition PhDs that are talking to customers all around. So if you own a feed mill and you don't know Alamet, then we've really made a mistake someplace. But I think anyone in the world who owns a feed mill, if they don't buy from us, they know of Alamet.
Basic production process, raw ingredients?
Yeah, so chemistry is a great thing. And let me start with the human analogy again. So if you take vitamin E pills, the vitamin E pills that you take are almost certainly made from very basic raw materials, which include natural gas. Now, to get from natural gas to vitamin E, you have to do a lot of chemistry. Okay, but in the end, in your pill, all that's there is vitamin E. There's no natural gas in a let me tell you, in a vitamin E pill. So it's the same way with our process. Our basic raw materials are natural gas, ammonia, and crude oil. Wow, that's right. And it takes 8 chemical synthesis steps to get all the way to a product that you can eat.
Jeff, how long have you been working on this project so far?
Yeah, so I'd say 2011 would be this particular project, working to make this particular project happen in the U.S. Gulf Coast. December 2014, we announced the intention to do U.S. Gulf Coast, but even at that time, we still had 3 sites that we were very, very seriously considering.
Takes a while, then.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much.